shall not hunger, and who believe in me shall not thirst. No one can come to me unless the Father beckons, and I will raise you up.
My dear brothers and sisters in Christ, let me begin with a passage from the Gospel of St. Mark, chapter 7, from verse 6 to 7. The passage we just read today in the Gospel. And this is what that passage says. These people honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. They worship me in vain. Their teachings are merely human rules. You have let go of the commandments of God and are holding on to human traditions. Let me read that again. Please take note. These people honor me with their lips. Their hearts are far from me. They worship me in vain. Their teachings are only human rules. They have forgotten the commandments of God and are holding to human traditions. My dear brothers and sisters, let me recall very briefly what we had to talk about yesterday for the benefit of those who were not here, so that we can tie it to what we are going to be talking about today. And by the way, there are 2 boxes in front. Please remember to write your petitions. It's important again to be reminded that there is no prayer, and I would repeat that, there is no prayer that is greater than the prayer of the Mass. I will talk about that specially on one of these evenings. So what we are offering you is something that you can never quite quantify. You would never know. And for many of us, because we do not know, we do not realize the place of the Mass. So please, we have the whole week. Even if you have not yet written, write your petitions before the end of the week. Put them in either of these wooden boxes. Not now, go and sit down. Okay, put it and please sit down. Thank you. You can keep it for now. Later on, when it is time for offertory, please, you can bring them in. There's no big hurry. If you don't have a paper to write now, write it later at home and bring it during the week. And so yesterday we were looking at the commandments of God. And we said in so many ways that God has created us for a purpose. And we spelled that out. To know Him, to love Him, to serve Him, and to be happy with Him. Let us look at that. To know the Lord. Do you know your God? To love Him. Do you love Him? To serve Him. Are you truly serving God? And to be happy with Him. Because if you really know Him, if you love Him, you serve Him, then of course you will be happy with Him. And like we said, that happiness is not a postponed kind of happiness. We are not waiting until we get to heaven to be happy. And that is why I said, if you truly know the commandments of God, then you will be the happiest Christian alive. Because the commandments are given to us not to keep us in captivity. And that is why I pointed out clearly that before God gave the commandments to the children of Israel, He chose for Himself a special name. He called Himself God the Liberator. He says, I am the Lord your God who set you free from the land where you were enslaved. In other words, if I have given you freedom from your slavery, why would I want to keep you in further slavery? Why would I want to enslave you further? Therefore, the commandments, properly understood, are meant to help us live in the freedom of the sons and daughters of God. So let us put that aside. And we try to look at the commandments, the very first three. We said they pertain to the honor, to the worship, to the adoration that we give to God. And if we truly can set God first in everything, then all other things that we seek will be added unto us. So do you really know God? That is the question. Because if you know him, then you would serve him not only by lips, but also in your heart. Now the people in the scriptures today all pretended they knew God, but Jesus was able to say of them, especially the scribes and the Pharisees, these people only honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far away from me. They keep the commandments of men, the rules of men, the traditions of men. They are more concerned with not offending human beings than concerned for not offending God. And every time you place your human concerns before the commandments of God, then you have done something in error. So let us start from that point today. And let me begin today again with another story of a young girl who was recalcitrant for a long time. And every time her name is Ngozi, and every time her mother tried to get her to go to church, to go to catechism, she had an excuse for not going. Sometimes she left the house and went away to play, but she never went to catechism, to Sunday school. But the mother never let up. She kept pestering the girl. Ngozi, go to church. Go and learn about God so that you can grow in the knowledge of God. Finally, I think Ngozi must have gotten tired. She decided that it was time for her to go. And when she was going, the mother said, take your brother Emeka with you. Ngozi took Emeka and they went to church. And it was the evening that the priest was supposed to be teaching catechism. Ngozi got there early and she began to think to herself, if I know Father very well, Father would always call those who sit at the back to ask them questions, because he would reason that those ones don't know, that is why they are hiding at the back. She wanted to sit at the back. She thought to herself, if I sit at the back, Father is most likely going to ask me questions I may not be able to answer. Where can I sit? She thought to herself, what if I sit in the front and I pretend to be confident and smile? That way, Father is not likely to ask me, because it is only those who are confident that usually will sit in front. So that day, she decided to sit in the very front pew. And as Father came in and began to teach, Ngozi was smiling much more than she was supposed to smile. In other words, she was demonstrating confidence so that Father would have no reason to ask her any question. But the smile was too wide that it attracted Father's attention. And Father soon realized that he had not been seeing this face in the class. And so he asked her name. She said, I am Ngozi. He said, Ngozi, answer this question. Where is God? And Ngozi said, Father, I don't know. Father thought Ngozi was joking. He waited for a time, and then he asked again, Ngozi, where is God? And Ngozi turned to the younger brother Emeka and whispered, Emeka, do you know where God is? Me, I don't know. The priest was still patient. And this time he was getting exasperated and he shouted out, like, said, Ngozi, answer me at once. Where is God? I think Ngozi felt she had had enough. She grabbed the hand of Emeka and ran all the way home. And when she got back home, the mother was surprised. I said, but catechism was supposed to take 2 hours. How come you are back in less than 30 minutes? What happened? He said, hey, it's your fault. Is it not your fault? All this time that I have not been going, you have been disturbing me to go. Now you see what has happened? Mother said, what happened? Today that I went, God is missing. And Father is asking me, where is God? Praise the Lord. My dear brothers and sisters in Christ, is God missing from your life? Are you sure? Okay, we will find out at the end of the day. Remember, again, are we worshiping God with our lips, our hearts with God? Let us again look at those commandments. There were 3 of them that we looked at pertaining to God. You must have no other God before me. I am the Lord your God. You must not carve for yourself any graven image, and so on and so forth. And you must remember to keep the Sabbath day holy. These are the commandments of God. And if we truly understand, like I said, and keep them, then we would inherit heaven, isn't it? That's what we said. But when the Pharisees and the scribes and the people around Jesus asked him, of all these commandments, which was the greatest of them, they were waiting for him to say maybe commandment 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. Yes, the commandments are important. But what was the spirit behind the commandment? Instead of Jesus pointing to any of them, what did he say? He said, this is the commandments. Everything comes down to love. To love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your soul, with all your strength, and to love your neighbor as yourself. Because the summary of all the commandments, no matter how much we try to enumerate them, comes down to this, to love. And love, it's always giving. In other words, love empowers. Love gives life. Love comforts. Love consoles. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love is compassionate. Love does not keep an account of wrong. Love does not seek to send anyone to destruction. Love never judges. Love is patient. And love never fails. It never fails. So if anybody says, for example, I used to love you and I no longer love you, then they have never loved you in the first place. Because the truth is, if it is truly love, it can never fail. Never fail. So now remember that very clearly as we look at the commandments and the implications in the commandments. We love God, and because of our love for God, we love our fellow human beings as well. It is as simple as that. When you read the epistle of St. John, the first epistle of St. John, especially chapter 4, John was talking about love in so many different ways. And he says, my dear brothers and sisters, how can you say you truly love God if that love is not demonstrated in your relationship to your brothers and your sisters? Because how can you love God that you do not see? If that love is not shown to that brother, to that sister of yours who carry in them the image and likeness of God. So your love for God is not an abstraction. It has to be concrete. It has to be demonstrated in the way you relate to your brothers and your sisters. I will give examples. I will break it down in a way we all can relate to. Let me take, for example, keeping the Sabbath day holy. We live in a much more complicated world today. And in our world, there are what we call, for example, essential duties, like the policeman, like the doctors, like the nurses. Sometimes, because of the nature of their profession, these people are called out on an emergency duty. Somebody could be dying and is rushed to the hospital, and the doctor, maybe the only doctor, for example, is in church. And then they may call the doctor and say, please come and save life. Somebody is dying. Will the doctor go or will he not go? Or you are rushing to come to mass. You know you have an obligation to attend mass. And along the way, you come across an accident scene. And you are in a position, you are not a doctor, you are not a nurse, but you have a car and you know the hospital that you can get that person to in a hurry. But you decide to leave the person and say, sorry, I would have helped you, but I am already late for mass and I don't want to miss mass. And you come to mass that day and you leave that person there. Have you sinned or have you not sinned? You have committed a greater sin by leaving that person there because you did not want to miss the mass and not help that person. That was a practical case that Jesus gave. In the case of that man that was beaten by brigands and armed robbers and was left on the road, and a Levite came by and a priest came by and they walked on the other side. Why? Because they were in a hurry to go to church. And yet a Samaritan, a nobody, a Gentile, one that was called a sinner, one that was condemned to hell already by the Jews who thought they were closer to God, became the one who understood the laws of God and acted on them. Let us look at the Gospel of St. Luke, chapter 18, from verse 18. The story of that young man, the young merchant, who went to Jesus and asked Jesus, what must I do to inherit eternal life? Jesus said to him, keep the commandments. We are talking about the commandments, remember? Jesus said, keep the commandments. But the young man, in order to justify himself, said, which ones? Which ones? And then the Lord called out the commandments. You must not steal. You must not commit adultery. You must not do this. You must not do that, as they are given in the Decalogue. And the young man smiled. He looked at Jesus and he says, but Lord, I have kept all of them. And it is true that he had kept all of them, because they said Jesus looked at him and smiled, because he understood that this young man was faithful and had kept the commandments. And yet he was still far from heaven. Why? Because his heart was not truly converted to God. He had kept the rules, the commandments, but the most important part, the conversion of his heart, was somewhere else. It was somewhere else. He found his comfort in his wealth. And Jesus said, there is one more thing you have to do. Go and sell all that you have and give the money to the poor. He did not say keep for yourself. Then come and follow me. And they said the young man went away downcast because he was sad, because he trusted in his wealth, because he had so much comfort from his wealth, from his lifestyle, and so he could not let go. And he forgot that that wealth was only possible because God had given him life to enjoy the wealth. He forgot that that wealth was a gift from God in the first place, and so he could not let go. He trusted more in his wealth than in God. Remember the story of the rich young fool, the farmer who had a great harvest, and he set up a barn for himself, and he said, "Rejoice, my soul, for now you have so much spread out for you to live for the rest of your life." And the Lord said to him, "You fool, for tonight your soul will be required of you." So, what are we saying? Number one, if God does not give you life and sustains that life, you will not even be able to enjoy your wealth. If God has not given you health of mind and body, you will not even be able to sit here to listen to me and to enjoy the benefit that life gives to you. If God does not protect you, your gun, your walls, your army, your horses, your chariots, your soldiers cannot protect you. So God is the one that gives life. God is the beginning and the end. And it is only God who can also take your life. And if God has not said that this is the day you will die, no one, indeed, no one can take that life from you. But because you do not understand this, how can you live with faith and trust? How can you even believe God? How can you be free from your fears and worries and concerns? How can you be free from judging others and sending them to hell before their time? My dear brothers and sisters, one of the greatest obstacles that prevents us from truly worshiping God with our heart and mind is fear. Let me point that out. What did I say? Fear. When you are afraid, you cannot truly live in love. When you are afraid of your future, you cannot be generous with what you have. You will be self-centered. You will be selfish. You will be concerned about your well-being, and yet that is really not within your hand to provide for yourselves. When you are afraid, sometimes you cheat, you lie, you defraud, you do a lot of things in order to keep maintaining the lifestyle that you live. When you are afraid, you are also afraid of death, because for you, death will deny you the opportunity of enjoying all your gifts. So fear is a terrible thing to start with. Fear is a terrible thing. And in that same passage that I pointed out to you, you can read it on your own, all of that chapter 4 of 1 John, it says, love dispels all fear. In other words, if you truly love God, that love banishes fear from your heart. And it asks that your love has not come to perfection, except you can now face the day of judgment without fear. because that is the worst kind of fear. What will happen to us when we die? So until the day you can face that day of judgment without fear, then your love has not come to perfection. So you cannot truly say, I love God with my heart, with my mind, with my soul, if you are still living in fear. The rich young man we talked about in Luke chapter 18, verse 18, what God wanted from him was very simple. God wanted him to give back to God the time of his life, which he could not give. God wanted him to give back to God the treasures that he had acquired in life, which he could not give. God wanted him to give back to God the talent of his life, which he could not give. I have talked about 3 T's: time, treasures, talent. God wanted the rich young man to give those 3 gifts: the time of his life, the treasures of his life, and the talent of his life. He could not give because he did not trust God enough to provide for his needs. Philippians chapter 4, verse 19. My God will supply all your needs according to his riches in glory. In other words, he did not have enough faith in God. So I will tie this talk today to faith. But let me deal first with the fears. Let me deal first with the fears. Let us look at our fears. And you know, I said at first, the commandments do not keep us in captivity. Jesus was angry with the scribes and the Pharisees because they used the commandments to imprison people. They used the commandments as an obstacle to judge the people and to condemn them. Whereas, when it came to themselves and to their relations, they were ready to bend the rule. That is why they quarreled with Jesus when he gave life on the Sabbath day, when he cured the sick, when the apostles were picking the grains of corn. They were more concerned with the commandments than what God really wanted them to understand. Do you understand what I am saying? They were more concerned with the commandments than what God wanted them to understand. They were more concerned with the traditions and the cultures than what God really wanted. Let me give you many examples. The one example that I want to start with. Some years ago, many years ago, over 10 years, or more than that, I was going around the country during my own personal annual retreat. I usually wanted to travel out to a monastery where I can have a quiet time to pray and be on my own. So I had gone to different monasteries. I went to Ohum at one time. I went to the Benedictine monastery in Ewu. I went to the Carmelites place in Nsukka. That's how I was traveling to different monasteries. I went to the Augustinian place in Jos. But my experience in the monastery in Ohum is what I want to share with you. All my friends and my classmates would know throughout the seminary, I probably only had 1 or 2 trousers, what you call trousers. The rest of my pants, as we call them sometimes, were what we call short knickers. It's very interesting in Nigeria. We are not sure what to call them because the Americans will call them shorts. The Englishmen will call them what? Knickers. In Nigeria, we are not sure whether to go American or to go English. We decided to join the two. So we have now decided in Nigeria, our own is short knickers. When it is already short, it is short now. Knickers are short. So why do we say short? That's what we are saying. So short knickers. That way we satisfy the Americans, we satisfy the British, Nigeria, English. So for the benefit of this crowd, I will use Nigerian style. I was wearing short knickers. When I arrived at the monastery, they showed me to my room. I put down my clothes, I put down my books, I carried my prayer book, what we call breviary. I wanted to go first to the chapel to thank God at least for the safe journey and to say my evening prayer as well. So I was feeling so much inner strength and spirit when I entered the chapel. As I entered the chapel from the back, there was a young man who was praying, who was hitting the ground and shouting and sweating and said, Jesus, come down now, now. That was what he was saying. It is the way he knows how to pray. So I circled around him and quietly went up front where his noise was not likely to disturb me. I left him alone to be saying his prayer. I wanted to go and say my own. As soon as I got to the front pew and I knelt down, before I could do in the name of the Father, somebody was touching my shoulders. I don't know how that young man that I passed at the back got to the front. Maybe he just followed me immediately. So he began to speak Igbo to me. My dear brothers and sisters, I am not Igbo, so I did not understand what he was saying exactly. He was just speaking, but I could see he was excited, he was angry. And I said, my friend, I am sorry. I do not understand what you are saying. He said, no. I said, I'm sorry, I don't understand Igbo. He thought I was pretending. So he signaled to me to come outside. At least I understood the sign. So I thought to myself, it was raining that day. I thought maybe they had cleaned the church. Maybe I brought dirt, potter with my shoes inside. So I looked. I did not bring any dirt inside, did not bring potter. But the young man insisted I should come outside. So I said, oh, maybe people are not allowed to pray at this time. So I followed him outside. And when he understood that I did not quite understand Igbo, then he said, don't you know you are committing a sin? Somebody who has just come to pray. I have not even said in the name of the Father. Somebody is already accusing me of committing a sin. I said, sin? What sin? You mean you don't know? I said, I don't know, my brother. He said, look at you now. Look at what you are wearing. I looked. I thought my knicker, you know this big box knicker, what do you, combat shirt with pocket on the side. It was even below my knee. I said, what is wrong with it? Is it torn? He said, you are doing like you don't know. Don't you know it is a sin to wear short knicker? I said, I sorry you. Nobody taught me that for the years I went to the seminary. No, okay, I didn't mention seminary. I said, nobody taught me that. He said, how can you say you don't know? Then I now, so the man was raking. He said, don't you know you are going to hell? I said, hey, that quick? This man does not even want me to have opportunity to beg God for my sin. He has already condemned me to hell. So I tried to reason with the man, but he was not listening to me. His mind was made up that I am going to hell. So finally I gave up. I looked at the young man. I said, my friend, are you the abbot? Abbot is the leader, the head of the monastery. I said, are you the abbot of this monastery? He said, no. I said, okay. Are you a monk? He said, no. Are you the guest prefect? He said, no. Are you the keeper of the gate of the church? He said, no. Why are you questioning me? I am telling you, you are going to hell, you are questioning me. So after some time, I said, young man, you know what? I think I am interested in going to hell. Go and tell the abbot of this monastery that there is a young man. I was not wearing father cloth, oh, by the way, so you will understand. I said, go and tell him that there is a young man in his church who wants to go to hell. So I ignored him. I went back and I continued my prayer. So the young man evidently stopped praying because I could hear him casting me out and binding me in front. I didn't know if I was carrying devil on my head. Instead of saying his own prayer for his own sins, he was cursing me from the back. But I ignored him. I finished my prayer. I went for supper. I went to my room. Later that night, I got a knock on my door. It was the abbot himself that came. And he said, Father, since you are our guest in the monastery, would you like to celebrate Mass for us, be the chief celebrant tomorrow? We want to hear from somebody new. So I said with all pleasure, I will be. But I knew that meant I had to wake up at 3 a.m. because that's when they wake up for their prayers. So 3 a.m., I woke up, I went to the chapel. They gave me a big herb to wear, the one they have with big hands. So the Mass began. And as the Mass began, come down, Almighty King. Everybody was processing. Help us thy name to sing. Since I was the chief celebrant, I was at the back. So as I began to pass, I noticed the young man was still sitting because he was wearing the same shirt. As soon as he saw me, he recognized me. Of course I recognized him, but I looked up, very holy. And the young man, as soon as he noticed, he said, Nafadao. He said it audibly enough for me to hear. But I continued, come down, Almighty. So when we finished the Mass. At the end of the Mass, many people were coming with articles to be blessed. This young man came from the back and began to push everybody away. And he came right up to the front. He said, Father, I don't know, say you be Father. I don't know, say. I said, what do you mean? I pretended I did not recognize him. He said, all the things I said, all the things I said, it is the devil, it is the devil. I said, what did you say? He said, you don't remember me? I am the young man from yesterday, the one who was telling you are going to hell. I said, really, is that you? He said, Father, yes, it is me. I am sorry, it is the devil. I said, the devil? But you told me I was going to hell, that I was wearing short knicker. He said, no, it is the devil. So I raised my arm for him. I said, but I am still wearing it. He said, no, Father, it is the devil. You are not going to hell. In fact, now me they go hell. Praise the Lord. You see the irony, the kind of faith we practice, the kind of Christianity we live. Yesterday, I was already condemned to hell. Today, I have now been removed from hell because I am a father. Is that the will of God? There are people like that in our churches. They sit quietly at the back. They watch what every other person is wearing. Who is coming in, who is not coming in. You spend the time you should spend serving God in judging every person. How can you truly serve God? Your heart is not with God. You're only praising him with your lips. You're only showing external holiness. But God is not to be deceived because he sees the heart of all men and women. And then it is these same people that will begin doctrines that are not even in alignment with the teachings of God. Look at what that passage says. It says this: they throw away the commandments of God and are holding to human traditions. Let me mention them. I get so angry in my spirit when people come to me, because everywhere I travel to for retreats, the one thing I do, even if it is an impossible crowd, I always try to give time for confession and counseling. So I get to talk to people so that I can understand their problems. And everywhere I go, when people come to me and say, Father, I committed a sin, I said, tell me about it. Father, it was in my dream. Oh. I said, stop. I said, how can you commit a sin in your dream? My dear brothers and sisters, listen, oh, because there are many people amongst us who teach these wrong doctrines. I don't know which theology school you went. Did they teach you that in Siwa here? They did not. I know they will not. I committed sin in my dream. I said, come, stop. Let me explain to you what sin is. Sin is a deliberate thing, an action that you do, knowing fully well what it is and the options you have, and deliberately doing it. So it has to be something that is consciously engaged in. Okay? That is as best as I can keep it simple. I said, when you go to bed, you are not in control of your dreams. And sometimes, you don't even know what you are going to dream about. So you dream of many things. So if you dream and see yourself doing anything in your dream, it is not a sin. But let me explain why I need to talk about these fears. Some others will come, Father, I think I am possessed. I say, how? Tell me. They told me that if I see myself eating in a dream, that it is a sign of possession. I say, what did you eat in a dream? He said, Father, it was just small meat pie. I say, only that one? I say, me, in my maybe last week dream, I ate meat pie, I ate fried rice, I drank champagne, I even used fruit to balance the thing. So if anyone should be possessed, I should be possessed more. I said, look, God help you. If I am hungry and I see food in my dream, God help you if you wake me up. I want to eat that food before I wake up. Because you don't understand dreams. Oh, Father, I saw myself in a dream. I was swimming in River Niger. I say, only that one? My friend, let me tell you where I have been in the world. I have worked in Nigeria. I have worked in Europe. I have worked in America. And the last 7 years before I returned, I was in Asia, both in the Philippines and Thailand. And I traveled around Asia. I say, so, if anybody has swum in many rivers and oceans, it is me. I did not only swim physically in the Atlantic Ocean, in the Indian Ocean, in whichever ocean, I also swam all of them in my dream. So if anyone should be possessed, I should be the one. What kind of nonsense? Listen to what I am saying. Where did you get that teaching from? Somebody with a Pentecostal mindset started a teaching, and I feel sad. I have been teaching in the seminary all my priestly life. This is 20-something years now. This is not what we teach our fathers, young men who are preparing. Where are they getting the teaching from? That is why I bring my Bible. I need somebody to get up. If you know, maybe I have not seen it. I need you to show me in the scriptures or in any of our Catholic books where it is written that if you see yourself eating in a dream, it is a sign of possession. I want somebody to tell me that I am possessed. Yes, I am, with the Spirit of God. And I know what I am talking about. Because you teach wrong doctrines and you lead the people astray with yourself. Because you keep them bound in fear when you should be setting them free. The blood of Christ has set you free. Let no one put you in captivity. It is not within their power. It doesn't matter. I don't care what group you belong to. I am speaking now with authority and I am looking at you. You may be a crowd in church tonight. I may not know everybody. In fact, I don't know anybody. But that day, when we get to heaven, God will ask me, did you tell them? I said, God, I told them. Was this man there? I said, yes, he was there. See where he was sitting. I may not know you now, but I will see you in heaven. I will tell you where you were sitting today. Amen. So you should banish fear from your heart. Let me tell you the psychology of dreams. My dear brothers and sisters, dream works in a psychic way. Let me explain. If you are a young man, and let us say you love this our sister here, you like her, whatever word you want to use, and for a long time, every time you see her, your eyes cannot leave her body. You will look at her, you will look at her, but you have also judged that your class and her class do not belong, and so there is nothing you can do. Every day you go to your bed thinking of her. My dear brothers and sisters, write this down. The day you dream about a woman, whether you are kissing her or you are making love to her, whoever that woman is, you will replace her with the face of this woman, because deep in your heart you are yearning for her, and what you cannot get in your real life, you dream about it. That is one way dreams work. In the same way, and this is all true, my dear brothers and sisters, sometimes the things you are afraid of the most will play back in your subconscious, in your dream. Again, I am not denying the fact that sometimes in the past, God has visited his men and women in their dream. We will see that in the case of Abraham, in the vision of the night. So God can visit you and reveal mysteries. At the same time, yes, the devil plays tricks on you in your dream. What about food? This season in Nigeria, for some reason, is very hot. Not every one of us has the benefit of air conditioning in your house. Some do not even have light or NEPA. Let me give you a test. Before the end of this week, please do me a favor. Choose any day. Do not eat in the morning. Do not eat in the afternoon. And in the very hot afternoon, when hunger, don't even drink water. When hunger is in your stomach, try to go for siesta. Go and sleep in the hot sun. There is no fan. But because you are tired and weak, the sleep will catch you. But you can take this from me. You are going to have a dream. And in that dream, you will see the kind of food you have not even eaten before. The one you have been yearning for, you will see it. My dear brothers and sisters, write it down. If you see, eat. Do you hear what I am saying? Do not be afraid. There is nothing the devil can do to you. This is what I will do. If I see food that I like, I beg you, don't wake me. Let me eat first, so that at least I know, even though I cannot eat it in real life, I have eaten it there. All power belongs to God. It does not belong to the devil. All food is sanctified to God. Put a blessing on top and eat. Do not be afraid. And if anybody goes from here, and I say it very clearly, look at me, I am not hiding, including fathers, reverend fathers, priests. If they are still teaching that nonsense, then they do not even know the seminaries they went to. They don't understand what they were taught. I challenge them, anyone, even if this doctrine is preached by a bishop, I want them to show me. I have been teaching for 20-something years. I have not seen this kind of rods. But you see, as Catholics, you have the deposit of faith that has been given to you. But we throw them away. We forget all the doctrines, the books, the traditions, the commandments that we have read. And sometimes it is very sad. You go to the shelf of some of these priests, what do you find? Books written by either Adeboye or someone else who never even went 10 years in the seminary, who do not even know the traditions of the scriptures that they preach. Somebody woke up overnight and claimed that the Spirit revealed to them, and you believe such nonsense? What have you not believed in your lives? And that is why many of us are led astray. That is why many of us suffer. That is why many of us continue to look for prophecies. You are waiting for people to prophesy about your life. Why do you need a prophecy about your life? Is God not enough for you? Is your life not safe and secure in the hands of God? How can you truly love God when you are living in these fears? How can you truly serve God when you are thinking, oh my future, whereas your future is in the hands of God? I told you yesterday, Jeremiah chapter 29 from verse 11 to 13, God says, I know the plans that I have in my heart for you. I have heard stories and they make me cringe. In 2014, when I returned from my mission, I went to preach a retreat in a parish, and a young girl came to meet me. During counseling, I knew this young girl a long time ago. She must have been around 14, 15 when I knew her, but now she was in her 30-something years. She came to tell me about her story, and it was a very long story of how she had left the church for some years. She was looking for a spouse. Prophecies had been made. People told her this and that. Then the final one that made her eyes open, somebody told her that she was possessed by marine spirit, and that her husband is a Mami Water husband, and that her husband is the one preventing men from coming to her. So one girl, her best friend, she said, promised to take her to this man of God. Everybody these days is a man of God. Even those who woke up in their kitchen, they are men of God. Only God sees the heart of every man. So be careful. So they took her to this house. And of course, as expected, this, in quote, man of God told her what the problem was. I told her they would fast and pray for 21 days because this was a great battle they were getting into. So there were a list of things, items that he wanted the girl to bring. She bought everything. She had a good job, but she did not have a husband to crown it. This was the problem. All her younger sisters and friends were married. So she bought these things, including some special oil. They call, I've forgotten the name of the oil. There are all sorts. And she said, but it was strange. Every time when they would pray, after prayer, the man would tell her to undress. He will anoint her on the breast, anoint her in the private part, and anoint her all over. He said he's sealing her against the day of battle. My dear brothers and sisters, what I am saying is true. I was just sitting. My mouth was open when I was hearing this story. On the 21st day, after all the prayers, the man said, this is the final night when the great battle will be fought. That they will do a vigil. The girl will come to church and sleep overnight in church. So she went. And during the vigil, the man danced and shouted and prayed. And then anointed. I said, now this is the final battle. That I will have to sleep with you. The girl said, what? The man said, listen. The man of God, this is how he explained it. He said, listen, I am not doing this for my sake. In fact, I am putting myself in danger by agreeing to sleep with you. He said, because your Mami Water husband, it's a very, very angry spirit. He said, so let me explain to you. If you were married and another man come to sleep with you, and your husband catch you and the man, what will he do to you? He said, that is easy. He will be angry. He might beat me or even kill me or kill the man. He said, you have answered well. This is the problem. That is why you are not getting husband. Because this Mami Water spirit, any man that comes close would either threaten them, destroy their business, afflict them with sickness so that they will run from you. He said, but these 21 days has prepared me for the battle. And that what he's going to do, he wants to drag him out, attract him to come out. He says, so I have fortified myself for the battle. So when I sleep with you, he's going to be angry and come out. As soon as he comes out, I will samba him. Bam! And your problem will be over. What a fool you are. But you see how some of us are gullible. How can you in your senses, and some of you have even gone to school, you have read, you have had one degree, another. What do you think with your head or with your butt? God has given you a head to think, but you don't use it. It was yesterday, somebody came to me, he said, Father, I have a problem with my head. I said, what is the problem? I don't know what is crawling in my head. I am sick. Father, pray for me. I don't have a problem with praying for anybody, but it occurred to me to ask her a simple question. I said, my sister, have you gone to see the doctor? No, Father, I believe in faith. I said, no, faith is not foolish. Go and see the doctor. It is God that has given the doctors and the nurses the head to do and practice medicine. It is when they have tried and they cannot help you, of course we'll be praying for you. Then I will lay my hand. I said the problem is not laying my hand, but I will not support your ignorance. God has given you a head to think. Why am I saying that? About 21 years ago, the only time I ever worked in a parish, mainly in Nigeria, was in St. Patrick's, Alaba. This is in Lagos. I was stationed in St. Patrick's, Alaba. That was just a year. And I was traveling around. From there, I went to St. Matthew, Amukoko. And a young man came to meet me during counseling. And he told me of his woes. Nothing was working for him. His business, his brother's business, everybody's business, everything they put their hand in was not working. I always listen, my dear brothers. But if you come to me saying possession, I want to find out the kind of possession. I don't jump to conclusions. The man said, Father, in fact, many holy men of God and prophets have told us that there is one certain woman in our village who is responsible. I said, how? What happened? He told me there's this one old woman that in the past they used to go to the village, they would give her money. Maybe she has carried the money somewhere, that is why they are not succeeding. I listened to this young man for more than 30 minutes. Then finally I decided to ask my questions. I said, my friend, what business do you say you do? At first I left his brothers out and others. He said, Father, I am selling clothes. I said, good. People like to wear clothes, no problem. Then I now asked him, where do you say you sell these your clothes? This young man told me, Father, Alaba International Market. And that is where my parish was, where I was working. I said, Alaba International, you are selling clothes there? He said, yes. Then I smiled. He said, but Father, this is serious, so why are you smiling? I said, don't you see there is nobody responsible for your problem? He said, no, Father, don't talk like that. Many holy men have prophesied, they have seen. I said, you came to me because you did not find solution with these holy men. Not be so. He said, but Father, don't talk like that. That we know the woman. I said, okay. I said, fine. You know the woman, but are you ready to listen to me? So he said, oh yeah, talk. I said, my friend, if somebody tell you that I am going to Alaba International Market, what will come to your head? He said, they are going to buy electronics. I said, yeah. Nobody goes to Alaba International Market to buy clothes. Even if your friends know you have a store, they want to go to where they can bargain. Except, let us say, an emergency happened. Maybe the person nicked a tear and then wanted a quick replacement. Then they remember this man here is selling. Let me go and collect one. I said, ordinarily, nobody would leave his house and be going to Alaba International. He said, Father, what do you mean? I said, it's very simple. Instead of wasting your time beating an old woman for nothing, use your head for once. He said, no, Father, there are many bad people in the world. I said, I should know better. I am a priest. I said, so what do you want me to do? He said, no, Father, they said she buried medicine in our compound. I want you to follow me to the village. I will pay your transport. I will give you money to come and do ancestral casting and binding. I said, my friend, if I wanted to eat your money, I would agree and follow you. I said, do me this favor. Go and close that your store in Alaba International. Where do they sell clothes in Lagos? He said, Teju Osho, Balogun. I said, go to those places and open a store. Father, it's not easy now. I said, yes, nothing good comes easy. So we debated. The young man left. He was very angry. So, of course, I see people every day, everywhere I travel. So I forgot his case, but I had told him what I felt God was asking me to tell him. One day, 4 years later, I was attending a ceremony at the Holy Cross Cathedral when a young man came to greet me. He said, Father! I said, yes. Don't you recognize me again? How can I recognize you? I see many people every day. But I didn't want to offend him. I said, yeah, your face is familiar. You know how our people think. See me now, I'm here. I don't even know how many people are in church. Somebody now will come and meet me without telling me, Father, we met in Port Harcourt. He said, Father, don't you recognize me? Maybe they only came for confession. How can I recognize everybody? So this young man came. He said, Father, don't. I said, no, young man, tell me, where did we meet? What was your circumstance? Then he began his story. I was that young man that came to you in St. Matthew's Amukoko when I told you one woman was responsible for the things that were not happening, things were not working. I said, I said, we thank God. Is the woman dead now? He said, Father. He said, now long story. So I said, tell me the long story. I had time. He said, Father, in truth, after I came to you and you told me to close store, I was very angry. In fact, I went and told people, I said, that father cannot pray. I told him to pray for me, to come and bind. He is telling me to go and open store. Is that how fathers do? He said, this was what he said to his friends, and he was very angry. And he went away. He never came back, he said himself, for the rest of the retreat. A year passed. And he said, but after that, things were still not working out. So he began to think to himself, suppose what Father told me may just be true. He said, so finally, he decided to go down to Balogun. He said, but Father, it was not easy, it was tough. At first, I was selling in wheelbarrow. Task force would chase us around, we would run. Sometimes they would seize our goods. And when I was almost at the point of losing hope, of giving up, somebody told me there was one man who had a shop, who was packing up and returning home to Onitsha, and that the shop was free. There was still like 2 or 3 months rent left, and that if he can go and take the store and pay the man the remaining money, he can just take the store after that. He said, Father, that is how I had my first store. He said, Father, so I said, so how is business? I said, Father, as I am talking to you now, praise the Lord. I say, hallelujah. Praise the Lord. Hallelujah. I'm still waiting for him to tell me. He said, Father, you don't know. I said, I want to know. He said, Father, as I am talking to you now, I have now 4 stores and I have 6 boys working with me. My dear brothers and sisters, so I said, explain to me, how did it happen? He said, Father, now so I opened, as you told me. Then gradually, things began to look up. And before I knew it, now I travel out with my friends to other countries to buy and to supply. And that even now, even before he buys, some customers had paid ahead. He said, Father, right now, I am a contented man. I can eat well. I can marry. I can buy car. And then, wait, story has not finished. So I now asked this man, I said, then what happened to that old woman who was against you in the village? And she died. He said, Father, forget that matter. I said, no, I will not forget the matter. You accused the woman before me. I said, go back and make restitution. He said, Father, not be the woman. He said, the truth is what you said was true. I did not listen. I said, yes, but go back and do something good for that woman. Because in your heart, you had sinned against her. Because she is old and hungry and sick looking, therefore she is a witch. Many of us act like that in this country because we are looking for answers where we would not find answers. We are looking for solution where we would not find solution. And you know what? There are many Pentecostal preachers and even priests, sad to say, who know your weakness, your emotional distress, and they prey on your ignorance. And they tell you the devil is after you. How many times have they told me the devil is after me? Let them come now. Let them come. I have not said there is no devil, so please don't go away and say, Father said there is. And I know even as I am talking now, the devil is making his plans for me. I don't have a problem. I don't even waste my time thinking about him. You know why? Because I will be wasting my time. The time I should use praising God, the time I should use serving God, I am thinking of a devil. What? I should spend the time for God and let God fight the battles for me. Jehovah Nissi, Yahweh Nissi. I told you about the story of the Amalekites. And now Moses commanded the people, every time you take hold of the banner of the Lord and go out into battle, it is no longer you fighting. God is fighting for you and will uproot your enemies from one generation to the next. If you believe that, say amen. I know what I am talking about. Quote me. Write it down. And when we get to heaven, tell God, I said this from the altar. Okay, some may say I said it from the ground. Let me climb the altar. So now I am talking from, tell God what I said. If anyone is teaching anything else, it is either they are driven by love of money or they do not know what they are teaching. One of my priest friends, who is dead now, God rest him, Reverend Father John Uba Ofei from Igara. Some of you may know him. When he was a very young priest, a year or two ordained, he was sent to work in a parish in a place called Somorika. Those who know the Akoko Edo area of the former Bende state, the present Edo state. Now, in that place, there used to be a very renowned native doctor. He was so well known across Bende state, maybe beyond, because people came in buses. As far as I can remember, I was in the secondary school then. People came in droves of buses and taxis. It was like a pilgrimage center. Baba was reputed to know and to see things, and that he had power. And that even before you say your problems, Baba already knew your problem. I will tell you about the problem. Father was tired. His first year as a priest, almost 90% of the confessions that he had, his people were always saying, Father, I went to see Baba. Who is this Baba? Why is everybody going to see Baba? Father, I went to see Baba. So Father was tired. He has advised his parishioners. He had preached to them. Catholics, you have no business going to see Baba. If you have any problem, bring it to God. One day, Father Ofei decided on his own to also go and see Baba. Yes, so since his parishioners were going there, what is good for the goose is good for the gander. So their leader decided to go. He did not wear any father cloth. He just dressed like a civilian. And he followed the process. He wrote his appointment. He paid the money. And when it was his turn to see Baba, as soon as he entered, Baba said, sit down, sit down. No need for you to say it. I have seen it. He was throwing some cowries and everything. He said a whole lot of things, expletives that Father did not understand. He said, you see him? You see him? Father look ground, he don't see anything. He was only saying cowries. Baba said, look well. He looked, he said, Baba, tell me now, since you have the eyes of God to see, tell me what you see. Baba said, Sam, your future. It has been tied down by your wife. It is true. He said, you see, so anything you put your hand to, you not go progress. Now that woman, when you marry, I know they make your business the worker. Father say, I have been suspecting that woman. He said, Baba, let me go home and finish her. Baba said, no. This kind of fight, not be ordinary eye. He said, not be only you. Look now. Look at this other place. Your first son, they don't tie a future finish as well. He said, so we need to do sacrifice. Father said, okay, Baba, what do we need to bring? He gave him a long list of things, plus some money. I think it must have been up to 1,000 naira or so. Those days that I'm talking about, 1,000 naira is a big money, big. Father said, Oga Baba, I don't have this kind of money now, but let me go and look for it. He said, yes. When you go home, don't say anything to that wife. Just keep pretending. After you have brought this item, you have done the thing, then you will have the power to speak. My dear brothers and sisters, Father was telling this story himself. If fathers were allowed to marry true, would there not have been problem in that house? That woman is in trouble. In fact, we will call that woman witch. Why is it that it is only women that have witch? What about the men? Women, praise the Lord! They are very happy. The Lord is good. Today I am supporting the women. Tomorrow I may change style. My dear brothers and sisters, you see, I am not interested in coming and leaving my work and just come here and shout, hey, praise the Lord. Hey, the Lord is good. Hey, you will never be sick again. Hey, you will never die. Now lie, you will be sick, you will die. If I tell you, you will not be sick, the moment I am saying it, one mosquito is biting your leg, you will be sick. Why would I want to lie to you? Because that is what you want to hear. Because when I say it, you will come and give me money. You are dying in your ignorance. I am smiling to the bank. Who is a fool? Your God is able to stand by you. Your God is able to deliver you. Your God is mighty and all powerful, and he can do it for you. Your God is a faithful God. Your life belongs to God, and no one can take your life from you if God has not said yes. I don't waste time with people who want to tell me my future. It doesn't belong to them. People have stopped me. Don't you want to know your future? I say, I already know. He said, how? I said, my future is secure in the hands of God. Now, so why are you worrying your head over my... You are drinking Panadol over my own headache. Go and drink your own. If you know your future, would you be on the road telling me my own future? How foolish can you people be? My dear brothers and sisters, let me say this clearly, with all honesty. I love the Lord, and I know what my faith tells me. But I also understand that God has given me a head to think, to reason, to believe, and to use the head well. God has not given me a head to carry my brains, to put it on the pew and sit on top of it. Prayer is powerful, and I pray. But I also want you to understand the devil has no power over you except what you have given to him. And that is why I started yesterday. I said, clear your minds, clear your heart. Do not present to the devil the opportunity to sift you. Ephesians chapter 4 verses 26 to 27. Do not let the sun go down on your anger, lest you present to the devil the opportunity to sift you. You are the ones who give to the devil the instrument that he uses to tempt you. Take hold of your future. Take hold of the word of God. Take hold of the authority and the power of that word in your life. Take hold of the banner of Christ. Yahweh Nissi. Go into battle and let the Lord fight your battles for you. Do not be afraid. Luke chapter 12 verse 4. Who said, do not be afraid of those who can kill the body and after that can do no more. I tell you, the one that you must fear. Fear him rather, who after killing the body can destroy the soul in hell. Fear the Lord. Fear the Lord. Fear the Lord. For the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. A word is enough for the wise. If you leave me alone, you see me, I'm not looking at any book. I can keep talking till midnight. I will not be tired. Heavenly race, I no go tire. Heavenly race, I no go tire. Heavenly race, I no go tire. I no go tire. You go tire. Heavenly race, I no go tire. Heavenly race, I no go tire. Heavenly race, I no go tire. I no go tire. He's able, abundantly able to deliver and to save. My God is able.